All right. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a wonderful day. So, the other day I showed this thing here. We got the 8 years, 8 months, 8 days, right? From the great sign in heaven to the 31st. And I said that closed out the timeline. And right here, so let's look up 888, what that, and here's all the different meanings for it. So, I think that, like I said, that right there actually maybe concluded that dome, um, which also significant, the three domes, right? 888. So, like I said, that I think that closed out, going back to the Hopi prophecy, the three previous worlds, right? And the 3 days of darkness or whatever. So you've got the process box that we're in, and they had the three worlds out here. Well, there was probably a dome given to each, right? Elijah, Noah, and Jesus. We in the process box, we processed them all out right here. So I think that concluded all three domes. The leftovers, because we still had to close out part of Noah's, right? So, and I think, like I said, this is just more of the kind of getting into the closure of things, just more evidence, if you will. Not that I'm right or wrong here. I didn't listen to this video. I just saw that headline. And I'm sure they did their research, and they're going to show the reasons why there's no more blue moons. And then I stroll past that all the time. And that was just a comment that somebody had left about how I can't knowledge my way out of this or smart my way out of it, and I'm digging myself a hole. And it's just kind of funny because somewhere in here, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. And again, that's not true. Okay, it just goes back to dimensions and realities and the testing of things, Like I said, waves of energy coming over me gives me my clues. Sometimes it's paths that'll just appear, physically at my feet, what I choose to take or not, so to speak. And so basically, I started all my testing when I sold everything off and walked away from the world, because I knew about that. Now, this is where we're going to get into some really weird stuff. Okay, so D-Day. Why do they call... What does the D stand for? And this is just so funny, because my last video, I had the double D's in there, right? Night, the day, and I had the little smiley face. Well, it just stands for day. The D in D-Day just stands for day. So it's day. And the only reason I bring that up, to me, D-Day, just hearing that, just doomsday is what comes to mind. And June 6th, that would be the 6th day for man, maybe. And it may have to do with, the whole, there for a while, the 6-7 was going around. I'm all prepared to go to the 10th or even potentially the 14th, because when the timeline ran out on the 31st, it could be the ark landing all over again, the real ark, the one that we're on, and we have to wait 14 days, and we're supposedly celebrating Independence Day early this year on the 14th, which is also Donald Trump's birthday. So I'm not sure how that whole thing right there plays out, because right now, in fact, even tomorrow is an option on some calendars, and that's the other thing that cracks me up. All these people talk about, the this calendar and that calendar, and then there's God's calendar. I don't know. I don't, because God's calendar is eternity. There is no calendar. So I don't know. Again, just a lot of this stuff makes me laugh. But when I got to thinking about, the upcoming events, and we are actually in a version of World War II, right? Like I said, there's a reason that the aircraft carriers weren't found at Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked, because they were up there in the Gulf. Now, they didn't tell you that. It didn't play out that way, and, yada, 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 yada. I don't care, is what it is. The Great War in Heaven just plays out in little segments here, there, and everywhere. Just everything handles and decomposes at a rate that it can still sustain the system. Say that 3 times fast. Long enough to get to the end. That's all it has to do. So just a couple more dates to throw out there. I'll let you guys, which again, I appreciate all the comments. Unfortunately, sometimes I can finagle comments in by, if it won't let me do it directly on YouTube, if it even shows them to me. I can sometimes get over there on Studio. I don't know what was going on yesterday. It would let me do the thumbs up and the hearts on everything, so that was cool, but it wouldn't let me leave a comment once, so I have to apologize to everybody for that, because I typically respond. And this I did find funny, though. I don't know if anybody else, I know Raven creates YouTube videos and whatnot, and he's had issues off and on. In fact, when we were doing the whole podcast together, there towards the end, there were times where they were just dropping our calls together outright. We'd be in the middle of a conversation or something, and it would just click, click, everything was done. But I kind of find this funny. A monthly creator roundup. It just makes me think of the chemical they want you to spray on your ground. They just want to round up all the creators and off them. I don't know. I just, when I saw that, I had to laugh. But anyway, so yeah, this is long enough. So again, like I said, some people's calendars point to even tomorrow. We could do the 6th, D-Day, 6th day for man. We could still be doing the 10th into the 11th, or maybe even the 14th. That would be even further down the road. Boy, I hate kicking the can, but hey, we don't know, right? So, is what it is. If I was going to lean towards anything short of anything, it'd be the 6th. D-Day, Doomsday. For some reason, that just stuck out. And then also, the other thing, too, when you run it through different gematria, it actually, now this says it breaks down to 17, but that's an 8 as well, right? 1 plus 7 is 8. So I don't know. All right, y'all, take care. Love y'all. Bye-bye.